Hello again and welcome to the channel. So in this video I do want to talk about the new knockout, the new PvP content. And so it's apparently it's a little bit too late, like we already finished the first season of this knockout. So the next competition starts in 10 days, but before that happens, I do want to give you my analysis and summary on what's been happening in this knockout. So the thing is that this is a very unique, a totally new gameplay kind of things from Dislyte, which make use of two teams. So before this, like you usually only bring like 5 espers every time you want to fight, but in this time even though you bring 10 espers, they don't necessarily all come out all together at once, but they do come out in pair of 5s. So the thing is that even though they are kind of like a separate teams, they do affect each other. So one thing that I want to mention to you is that something while we are talking about this, I do want to just show you some of the gameplay that is happening in Knockout here. So the thing is there are many different kind of combinations that you can use, like in this Knockout PvP system, like you can see much more variety of espers being used and not only all the same 5 espers every time you go to the point war. So you can see a lot of different combinations, a lot of new teams, a new lineup. And the thing is that it can be overwhelming, like I myself are not able to analyze and counter for every single one of them, but I do have like some kind of a key component that I can emphasize every time I decide on which teams that I want to attack. Like for in this case, like I mentioned in my previous videos, like Bardon is a really hard counter against Ophelia. So the moment I see Ophelia, I'm just gonna switch to my Bardon team and that's it. Like I don't really want to go into deep analysis into every single one of them, because if I do that, it's gonna take a very long time to just do one single fight. So the thing is that even if you have a really strong first team, like for example, if you go with two of your teams are speed teams, and your first team is supposed to be able to counter both of the enemy's teams, but because you win the first time, you will get this debuff that is called fatigue, that reduce your damage dealt and increase your damage taken. So even though that usually your first team is able to defeat both of the enemy's first and second team, but because of that debuffs, there is a possibilities that you might lose against the enemy's second team, and also because you will continue using the current HP that you have from fighting the first team. And so there is always a possibility that your first team might lose because of that fatigue, and then your second team might not be able to counter the enemy's second team just because you already use up all of your best espers on your first team. So that's one thing that you need to consider while dealing with this knockout system. And it makes the battle much more interesting, because aside from making sure that your combo works in your single lineup, you also need to think about in the possibilities that your first team might lose and at what point in time, and then after that what happens if you do change to your second teams while dealing with either the first team of the enemy or the enemy's second team. So again, the thing is that you might not be able to counter every single one of them, but I do know there are like some espers that are still able to deal with many situations. Like for example, Ollie, Gabriel, Changji, and then Abigail, and then Ethan, all those espers are able to deal with many different situations, not necessarily need to counter any enemies, but they do have their own world to begin with. So all in all, those things are the things that you need to think about when building your team, but it's more of a situation where you need to think about like your own capabilities. Like, you have the necessary experts to complement each other. Do you have enough relics to build 10 sets of perfect relics? And the thing is that the most important stats of all is resist. This is what I want to emphasize in this video. Like, not many people realize that ever since the dawn of time, the beginning of Dislyte, resist is one stat that only affects your PvP aspects in this game. Like, you don't really need to have resist while dealing with PvP content, and thus the only ever use of resist if you use it in PvP. But the thing is that a lot of people saying that resist doesn't work because they don't really see the difference, you know, because they keep still getting debuff, or they still keep getting like disabled even though they have max resist, because the enemies still have a very low chance to be able to ignore your resist. And that's why that justifies their decision to not ever think about resist anymore. But everything changed the moment Dislyte released Nua Fengnuxi. Nua is able to obliterate every single lineup just because she is able to dispel before she is increasing everybody's cooldown. So just from that single skill, it will mess everything up for you. So the only way to actually ever deal with that kind of thing is to only increase your resist. Because by increasing your resist, there is a chance for you to resist the enemy's dispel, so you still keep your immunity up. That's the most important part of resist, is not to actually replace your immunity esper, the esper that can bring immunity to you, like for example Gabriel. Resist doesn't replace your Gabriel. Resist is best when paired with immunity. So for example, if you have Gabriel and your whole team have 100% resist, you can be sure that the enemy will have a very hard time to remove your immunity. And that's what you are supposed to be aiming for. Not to be able to have like the ability to perfectly resist every single debuff that the enemy throw at you. And that's what everyone's expectation of a resist coming to. You know, just the best example for resist is when the new Chronos came out. When we were still able to kill Chronos using poison, like everybody was having a good time. And then after 3.1.7 hits and Chronos get a little bit of resist, everybody just lose their mind, you know. So that's just by having a little bit of resist, your consistency got reduced down by a lot. Because the thing is that among 10 runs that you do, you will probably fail one just because Chronos resists your defense down, and it's already enough to make you frustrated. And how do you expect to have a perfect resist all the time? If that's what your expectation is when building a resist relic, because it's not gonna happen. Like for example, if you do run like 10 Chronos and you build a lot of resist, there might be a chance like 2 or 3 of those runs you will be able to resist the enemy's debuffs. Just exactly the same example as Chronos. So in this PvP, if you build your resist, there is a chance among 10 point work that you do, 10 fights that you do, you will be able to resist the enemy's debuffs or dispel on you like 2 out of 10 times. Compared to totally not able to resist the enemy's dispel and debuffs at all. So every little bit of chance helps. It do helps. So what is the price of increasing your resist? You will say like it will compromise my attack, it will compromise my survivability. But the thing is that there is a trick in order to be able to build your resist without compromising much of your stats. Like for example here, I do have a relic that you might be able to think about. Like for example, I do have this kind of relic here that do increase a lot of resist. Like for example, this one, with just immense relic here, I have 3 substats going into resist. So just by using this one relic, I already got 50% resist increase. And with the help of the other relic from immenses, I can be sure that I have 100% resist by just sacrificing 2 of those relics while not compromising the other relics. So that's the thing, like the Mui relic doesn't really affect you that much. Like the only thing that probably will be very beneficial to you is probably the Fiery and the Avatara. The rest is kind of optional, like you can get the other stats from your substats. Like even Fiery, you can get them from your substats. Like if you have enough stats like critical rate from all the other 4 relics here, you don't really need to have Fiery on your Mui relic. And so you can use your immenses. And this relic here, immenses, is specifically made for PvP. So if you do want to focus more on the PvP aspect of the game, do build up your resist. It will help you a lot. It won't show you like 100% ability, a guaranteed resist of every single debuffs and dispel that the enemy throws at you, but at least like it will increase the chance for you to be able to resist some of them compared to running without resist at all. But then again, like a lot of people will always gonna say like, you know, it's better to just kill them fast before they are able to do anything, so I don't really need the resist. But it depends on the gameplay for every single players out there. But the thing is that unless you are the fastest man alive, then there's always someone who will move faster than you and able to disable you before you are able to do anything. And that will be a problem if you don't have any single resist. And so that's the thing, like there are some examples, like you can even use the headphones. Like here in my case, I have a headphone that increase the main stats resist. By just equipping these headphones, I'm able to give full resist to my Esper just by just using that one relic. So to build your resist relics, like you don't need to have a resist substats in every single one of your relic, because that will compromise your other substats. By having a resist substats in here in every single one of your relic, you are actually blocking your chance of increasing other substats using your booster that you get from your Dislyte land. So the best way to build your resist relic is to just dump every single resist stats into a single relic. So if you do have these things that I showed you before, this one, I got lucky and I got every single resist into one single relic here, so I can be sure that my other relics can go for attack bonus, critical rate, critical damage, and speed substats, and it will still give me a cutting edge into my DPS compared to spreading my resist in all the other relics. So you can try to build your resist relics by getting lucky in your immenses Mui, because that will reduce your resist that you need by 25% because it's already in the bonus set. So you only need to get lucky in both of the immenses relic here to get all the other resist. and you will be set into having like a very high resist, because everybody have a default 20% resist. So for example, if I do have this resist, I already have 25% from the set bonus, and then I get 24% from here. If I do have the boots that come with the same +3 substats resist, that means I already have 75% on my resist in just 2 relics, and it already brings my resist to 95% without compromising my other 4 relics. And if I do want to use the main stat resist, that means that I'm sacrificing only 50% of my attack, and I can still have all of the other substats here with attack bonus, critical rate, critical damage, and speed. And so my booster will be able to boost them up all the required attack bonus and speed in every single one of my relics, while not compromising that much of my abilities of having attack up, which is only sacrificing like 53% of this attack bonus into resist. So I'm losing 53% attack bonus, but I gain a lot of resist in this case. It's just the same theory as using accuracy main stats on your headphones, so that you can have more substats going to your speed in all the other relics. It's the same theory for resist. So you can have a booster and substats going to your other stats on the other relics by putting your resist on your main stats headphones here. But then again, you do sacrifice some attack bonus here, which is at the bare minimum 53% here. So that's the price of having resistance. But if the reward is not getting a stun on your next turn and being able to deal your damage, then losing 50% attack but still able to deal damage is much better option compared to getting stun and deal 0 damage while having very high attack on your Esper. So that's resist for you. So there are many ways to build up your resist, but all in all, there is a possibilities for you to be able to find a really good substats in your main stats resist relic. Like there are so many good stats here. Like after grinding a lot of those Chronos, Apep, and Fafnir, there won't be a single it won't be that all of these resist main stats rally gonna be useless for you. Like some of them might have a really good substats and you can actually use them. So all these substats are really good if you are trying to build them, so you can integrate them into your build while going to the PvP section, and that's the way for you to negate some of the abilities of the enemies to be able to control you. Because looking at the lineup in the knockout battle, like I've seen a lot of people who goes with speed team or tank team in their main lineup in Point War, because they don't have that many Espers to begin with. Their second team will be a controller team, which use like Longyan, Parmy, Pritzker, all those epic Espers, and they will be able to kill you if you don't have a single resist in your rally. So do build your resist from now on, and I'll see you in 10 days from now on, and we will see how it turned out. The thing that you sacrifice is this. Like imagine if you don't build up your resist, yes, you will have a really high attack or you will have really high HP because you don't sacrifice any substats or any main stats to go to your resist. But the thing is that if the enemy, if you say that you have a high attack, like for example for your DPS Espers, you do have a high attack, but if you get stunned by the enemy, then in the next turn you will deal 0 damage just by getting stunned. Just by not having resist, you deal 0 damage on your next turn. That's the price for not having resist. And if you do have health, like if you do stacking health, and by not having resist, if the enemy put defense down on you, you already lose 60% of your defense by sacrificing some main stats because you do want to have that 25% HP bonus. You are losing 60% of your defense. So that's the price of not having resist in PvP. So resist won't change your life, your world overnight, but after a while, in the long run, you will notice the difference. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.